Thank you for joining this panel. This is a great panel. I like the name Messaging Reimagined because it says that we're not going to talk about the past, but we're going to talk about the future because we're going to reimagine the future. But obviously, we're also going to talk about the past. So I prepared a few short words. We have 6 very, very smart and opinionated panelists. Plus, there's a very opinionated host. So we're going to have to keep our everything that we say very short. And let me just start off with a few words. So thank you for joining this conversation. I wanted to start by talking about something that the industry doesn't say out loud, and that is that CPaaS was supposed to be the great unifier of the industry. It was a promise going back nearly a decade. Was simple. Enterprises would plug into a single platform, reach customers across every channel, orchestrate intelligent conversations at scale, and stop worrying about the underlying complexity of markets. The pipes would be abstracted. The developer would be empowered. The customer experience would be seamless. That promise has been partially kept. A2P messaging at global scale, 2-factor authentication, transactional notifications, basic chatbots. They're real, they work, and they generate real revenue. But the gaps are also very real, and they're worth being honest about. First of all, OMNI-Channel in most enterprise deployments still means SMS plus 1 or 2 other channels. We actually did a survey of enterprises at the beginning of this year. It was amazing. Most of the companies say, oh yes, we have to have OMNI-Channel, 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 and they're using SMS and email. Majority of them was 80-something%. Now, obviously, there will be some enterprises that will be using all the channels, but a lot of them, OMNI-Channel is 2 channels, which means that really the idea of OMNI-Channel hasn't really been implemented. It's not the unified conversational layer that CPaaS promised. Secondly, the economics underneath are shifting. A2P SMS, which was the cash cow that funded much of CPaaS growth, is under pressure from artificially inflated traffic, from channel migration to OTT platforms that CPaaS can't really control, and from carriers. Let's say, and there's a carrier here on the panel, so I'll be very humble about it, raising prices without any real reason. The replacement revenue from RCS, conversational commerce, and AI-driven engagement hasn't yet shown up at the scale that was originally promised. Thirdly, the relationship with CPaaS and carriers has never fully resolved. Are they partners? Are they competitors? Are they moving toward each other and up and down the stack? Now in 2026, the question matters even more than it did 5 or 6 years ago, because both sides now have credible AI and conversational ambitions. And fourthly, and this is the one I most want to talk about on the panel, is the customer experience at the receiving end of all this innovation, which, to be honest, is not dramatically better than it was 5 years ago. More messages, more channels, more AI, but also more fraud. Not obviously more value to the person holding the phone. I want to say that again. Are we really seeing more value to the person who's holding the phone? So the question I want all of us to sit with today is not what's next in messaging. It's what has to actually change in business models, in carrier CPaaS relationships, and how value gets created and captured, so that the next decade can actually deliver what the last one promised. So that's my opening statement here. The panelists have seen the questions before, but as they all know, I sometimes throw things out and I give you questions that are not. So instead of introducing everybody here, because many of you may know them, and if not, you can look up their LinkedIn profile like I did. Instead of that, everyone's going to say their name, what their role is in the company, and they're going to tell us about something that we don't know about them from their LinkedIn profile, something that is totally off their business characters, I guess. And I'll give you an example so that you'll know what to do, and then we'll do women first. Sorry, Monica, you're first. So my name is Ira Cohen. I'm Chief Strategy Officer at M&D Smart, and something that you don't know about me is that I'm a passionate New York Knicks fan. Go Knicks! We won the NBA championship on Saturday night. I've been following them for all of my adult life, and this is the first championship in 53 years. So while the rest of the world is talking about the World Cup, I'm still in the Knicks, and the parade is tomorrow in New York, and I won't be there. That's me. Go ahead, Monica.
Hello, everyone. I'm Monica. I've been doing sales and business development in the telecom industry for almost 14 years already, managing international voice, messaging, mobile services and solutions. I'm currently working for China Mobile International Germany for almost 4 years, focusing on A2P messaging. And what you may not know about me is that I'm a very good swimmer.
A what?
A very good swimmer.
Oh. How many? How many kilometers?
I'm very happy to be here with all of you to exchange ideas, and why not to learn from each other.
Okay, I'm going to ask you your first question.
Tell me.
Yes, okay. So A2P SMS has funded much of the industry. Everybody listen, you're all going to have to answer the same question. A2P SMS has funded much of this industry for a decade. With AIT fraud, channel migration, and pricing pressure, where does the replacement margin actually come from to replace what we're losing with A2P SMS? And you have to name the specific revenue line, not just something general.
Okay, so we are all aware about the market challenges that we've been facing in the telecom sector in the most recent years, and especially when it comes to retaining margin. For CMI, we have a great positioning when it comes to being very close to the origination, meaning to the enterprise customers and to the OTTs, and in the same time to be very close to the termination point by having channel partnerships with gateway suppliers, by having bundle deals with other telecom operators covering multiple services and solutions. And this has been helping us retain more value and margin. And this, in the same time, investing in fraud prevention, investing in a strong advanced firewall.
You're giving me the company line.
Company line.
Let me
get to the third point, okay, which for us has been the most important. And I
know
would
you
say,
work for a big corporation and they trained you what to say. But where's the revenue going to come from?
You know where is the key? The key asset for operators, especially for China Mobile, is identity and verification services. If we have a structural advantage compared to, let's say, non-operators, having access to network intelligence that we use for our APIs, first of all, and also for the platform integrated. And supporting the second point that I just mentioned, which is the fraud prevention, in order to retain the revenue.
Okay, Seema.
Thank you.
I think the margin lies in conversion rate. So if you can have AI, I am from AI platform team. Sorry for the introduction. You just dumped the question to me. So I'm Seema. I'm from Microsoft. I work on AI platforms. I'm from Copilot, agent, workflow, design team. So
what don't we know about you?
What do you know about me? Okay, so I'm an engineer and computer science engineer, product manager, all of that from Linden. But however, I like to say I'm an artist. I like to doodle a lot, and I say doodle a day, keep the psychiatrist away. So that's a little bit about me.
So we have a swimmer and a doodler.
Yeah.
All right, where's the revenue coming from?
I think it's coming from the conversion rate, and maybe I'm biased because I'm from AI team. So yes, however, there are these communicators who are being replaced by the AI technology. But indeed, if that can close the conversion, say for a loan that got sanctioned or for that ticket that got resolved, but which was initially done by 70 other operators, is now getting done and be operated autonomously with AI agents, that's where the margin lies, I think.
Okay. Gabriela.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gabriela, VP of HIO, taking care of messaging and network APIs. Recently joined the company. Something that you don't know about me from my LinkedIn profile, I love baking cakes. So, now talking about where do I see the new revenue models coming in, I think it will be an orchestration of the OMNI-Channel platforms. That's maybe something is worth looking at. And coming back to what Monica was mentioning earlier, identity layers, and I think now it's time to actually take network API serious, look at all the use cases, and this is where I see the new revenues. And that will not have impact only on the revenue models. We are also looking at, coming back to what you were saying in your introduction, we are also talking now about consumer protection. And I think this is something which hopefully should have a huge impact on that.
Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Palfrey and I'm a principal analyst at Mobile Squared. We're the #1 provider of business messaging intelligence. Something you might not know about me from LinkedIn is that I'm an avid knitter.
David?
Knitting.
Knitter. Okay. I'm not going to go use the previous joke. Go ahead.
What is it? A knitter? What?
Making clothes from wool.
Oh, you do? Okay.
You tell me your secret later.
Oh my God, yeah.
Fabrizio, that's your next sweater.
I could have his new socks.
So I think in terms of the margin replacement, you're going to hear a lot of things. Network APIs, RCS, AI. I don't think any of it is mature enough at the current time to act as a replacement for falling.
So we're all going to lose money for the next couple of years?
I think perhaps. I don't think SMS is going to decline as quickly as some people would think it's going to. So I don't think it's, we're going to all lose money. But I also don't think that anything that the carriers are talking about right now is in a position to replace falling revenues.
Great. I'm going to use this one later. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I'm Fabrizio. I'm the founder and CEO of Horizon. Something you don't know about me, what is written in LinkedIn. I'm not on diet at the moment. Peace. Yeah, Michael, you know, right? Okay. Replacement of revenue. What to replace? The revenues are here. Collect the money on the street. Yeah, but you have to bend yourself and get it. It goes down, yes, but there are a lot of markets which still are not digitalized, which still you can do money. And if we think too much about the new products, why to run behind, chasing the carrot while we have a huge big stake still on the table. So maximize that out.
Okay. Ricardo.
Oh, that's yours.
Good morning to everyone. So I'm Ricardo. I'm VP in iBasis for messaging sales. What you don't know about me is that, instead of having someone expert over the last 25 years on voice and messaging, you could be in front of a very famous journalist, because I was journalist for 1 year before I joined telco, after finishing university. So who guess?
That's not in your LinkedIn profile that you were a journalist?
No.
Oh.
Now we have
You're hiding the fact. I got it.
Now we have the breach. You did not ask which magazine.
Okay, Ricardo, go ahead.
Sorry, let's be serious.
Oh, in terms of
Excuse my colleague to your right. Yeah.
exactly revenue replacement. No, I think I tend to agree with what was said. I think instead of, we have been here the last 10 years riding the wave of OTP on international E2P traffic, created by 20 brands. So what about the domestic traffic? What about all the other use cases? Again, going domestic, I think it's a very interesting approach.
And you're not seeing a downturn in, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, everybody.
Do I need the, then I don't need the.
We don't see your eyes, but we hear.
All right.
We will need it for our recording.
Oh, all right. Sorry. Recording work. So you think that we can make up the revenue just from domestic?
Well, I think we are exploring just one use case of a very specific segment, which is international A2P from big brands. So there's a lot of other use cases, regional, domestic. So, and we have the tools, we have the knowledge. So going a bit more on diversifying the use cases and have a different approach in terms of market segments could generate more margin.
Interesting. Okay. So we'll go down. The next question, I guess, is And this was a follow-up to the previous one, or from my opening statement. The carriers own the networks and the subscriber relationship, but CPaaS owns the developer relationship and the enterprise integration. When an enterprise wants to run a conversational AI agent across RCS, SMS, and WhatsApp, who is actually the primary vendor in that deal? Monica.
I will talk here about the actual nature of CMI. We are the international arm of China Mobile. So on one side, we act as an aggregator who is able to deliver traffic globally. And on the other side, we are an operator, and the biggest operator in the world at the moment. We have the expertise, we have the market knowledge, and especially we have the strong relations, even in the complex
Who owns the relationship?
markets with APAC. Who owns the relation? I would just say that this is the catch. We have both, just from this
No.
positioning.
Who owns the relationship? Carrier's going to say we do.
Operators would
Okay.
say we do. It depends a lot on the customers' goals and focus, of course.
Charlotte, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's somewhat of a telco arrogance here, assuming that either one will end up owning the relationship, because there are other parties that could own that relationship. You look at customer engagement platforms, they could end up owning a relationship, especially if you're talking about channels that might not be telco. If you want something that will cross everything, it could well end
But
up.
you know that every aggregator in the world is rebranding themselves as a customer engagement platform right now.
Yeah, but I think assuming that they're going to be the ones that end up taking it rather than platforms that already exist is maybe a mistake.
Ricardo, I see you're smiling.
Yeah, because I agree. I think the enabler, call it a platform, CPaaS, whatever, that whoever is enabling the enterprise to orchestrate that flow is the owner, because the enterprise or the brand, they have a need, but the true owner is not the MNO or the specific channel, is the one that is enabling all that in one tool. So whoever can deliver that role, I think, has more potential to succeed.
I'm going to put an opinion here. That's totally not. I probably shouldn't, but in my opinion, this is where the carriers have failed most unbelievably, because they own that pipe and everybody is using their pipe. Everybody. And instead of finding a way to lease it and make money the way they should from that pipe, if you're going to have a relationship on my pipe, you're going to pay for having a relationship on my pipe. That's what they lost, and they just totally lost that. They lost that leverage along the way. That, I think, is the biggest failure. And I'm everyone knows me. I'm very critical of. I love operators. They're some of my best friends, but I'm very critical sometimes about their business decisions. This, to me, is the thing that over the last 10 years is they've totally failed at. Use that pipe, leverage it. You have an asset. You built this beautiful hotel. Get the most money out of the facilities that you built. Okay, we'll go to the next question. Sorry, 1 second. Here we go. So RCS business messaging has been positioned as the carrier-led answer to OTT for years. Apple's RCS support was supposed to be the inflection point, but let's be honest, is RCS now a meaningful revenue channel? Charlotte's already said she doesn't think so. Or is this mostly a strategic hedge? And if a brand asks you today whether to invest in an RCS program versus deepening WhatsApp, what would you actually tell them? Gabriela?
I will tell them, don't necessarily make a choice. Use both. Try to do maybe based on what are you trying to achieve. Try to maybe move your best SMS use case on RCS. Yes, is SMS picking up? Correct, it is. Is it going to be the next big thing where we see revenues flowing? I doubt it's going to happen. The adoption is still slow. So depending on which market are you operating in, what kind of interaction do you want to have with your customers? What kind of businesses are you looking at? I wouldn't necessarily, like I mentioned, say choose this or that, RCS versus WhatsApp or WhatsApp versus RCS. Try to maybe do a combination, see what works better for you in that case.
Charlotte, you're the analyst for RCS in the world. So tell us what the numbers look like.
So, I mean, if we were talking 5-10 years ago, the numbers looked excellent. RCS was going to be booming. I think everybody knows that's not what's happened. RCS, we kind of see the growth as more of a trickle, not a flood. And WhatsApp is growing quite strongly. You know, if you're going to advise a business what to do, I don't think businesses care about the channel. They don't care, does it do this or that? They care about the outcome. And I think what is going to end up being the relationship managers are going to say to businesses, these are the channels that are going to get you the best outcome for what you want to do. And they're not going to care whether it's WhatsApp or RCS. They're going to care, do I get the best outcome? Am I going to make the most money out of doing this? I don't think RCS is going to grow as big as we would have liked it to. But I think we'll still see growth, but it will just be a slow trickle rather than the gang-busting growth that was predicted some time ago.
Fabrizio, you're well positioned to talk about this. We're both on the RCS panel later, I think.
We are, right?
I'll try and be on time
Since
for
the
that
last
one.
10 years. So I doubled my RCS traffic because I sent yesterday 2 RCS messages. So, it's booming.
One second, first.
It's booming.
Fabrizio, 1 second. I forgot to say. About 2 or 3 years ago, I was moderated a panel here about RCS, and your boss, Nick Lane, was on the panel. And as is my wont, I ask questions that they don't expect. So I asked at the opening of the session, if you could compare RCS to any animal, which animal would you call it? And he said a sloth. And I saw him in Washington a couple weeks ago. I said, "Are we still slothing?" He said, 100%. Sorry.
So what is my stake? RCS, we're talking about now the last 10 years. Disruptive technologies do not come slowly in the pace of 10 years. Disruptive technology comes overnight. Bang, it's here, So will it be successful? I think it will be a niche, even if operators and Google with the whole power, are trying to push that through. But at the end, it's the user which will judge them. End of story. The user will say, do I adopt it? It's not like it was before. The carrier were used, and that's the point what he said before, the carrier were used to serve the channel, and you use what we serve, right? It's completely other world now. It's the user which decides what channel I want to use. So let's say the kids, kids, maybe they're not on WhatsApp. You said WhatsApp is taking a lot of care, a lot of traction. But who is on WhatsApp? Why the kids are on WhatsApp? Because they want to chat with the parents. They snap. They are on Insta. They snap whatever with TikTok. So we have just to admit, that the channels, that we are getting old, right? We get gray hair, so we get seldom. That means we are fading out, our using channels. So we have to see what the youngsters are doing and how they will behave. And they have something in common, which I think it's very interesting. They are absolutely highly illoyal to any channel, because they can jump like that from one to the other. Not like us, which grew up in a time where the phone was, screwed on the wall, right? We have really a channel loyalty, right? So this will not come. So RCS and Apple, I don't know if Apple is really the accelerator, because I also have their big problems. If the content on an Android phone looks different than on an Apple phone, it's just too many obstacles. It's so complicated, right? And about disruptiveness, imagine TikTok opens tomorrow, the API, because they're working on. This will be a tectonic shift in the market. Then let's see the WhatsApp dominance, what will happen if all of a sudden TikTok is here and all the kids which are on TikTok spend the most time on TikTok, all of a sudden they can have the business messaging also there. Yep. So I'm happy for that, to be honest, because then we don't have to talk only about the WhatsApp dominance or the Viber dominance there or whatever. the games can reshuffled immediately.
So you and I
overnight.
they'll keep inviting us to talk about TikTok and TikTok panels now. That'll be the next business messaging.
Why not? I
Okay.
mean, are we? We should not have
I
prejudice.
better
you know,
sign
what
up and
else?
see what TikTok is because
Huh?
I better sign up and see what TikTok is.
You don't have?
I don't. I have no.
Okay. Well, you're
I still
out of
have
business,
I
man.
still have a phone connected to the wall. Yeah.
You will be out of business.
I still have a phone connected to a wall. But, yeah. Actually, if we look at RCS and the numbers right now are 1.1 billion users. Is that Charlotte? That the number right now globally?
I believe so.
Yeah. So how many mobile users are there in the world? 8, 9, 10, whatever. Because a lot of countries have multiple subscriptions.
But sorry, Ira. What is your question? Enabled or using? Because that's not the same thing. You know, it's like
I'm getting to my point. So if I look at that market, most of it is opportunistic. It's not because someone said, okay, let's go and do RCS now. It's because the cost of sending an SMS is more expensive than sending a OTP via RCS, or it's less expensive than sending it via WhatsApp, or the marketing messages in Germany were very expensive to send WhatsApp. It's cheaper to send RCS marketing messages. I see it more as opportunistic based on costs, frankly, not necessarily because of the value of the channel. Because value of the channel, let's face it, you have to learn how to do an RCS campaign. You can't just, it's not SMS, it's more complicated than WhatsApp too. You have to learn how to do it. There aren't a lot of studios, but with AI today, you can build in an AI RCS campaign builder into your customer engagement platform, and they can build an RCS campaign, but it's far more complicated. Most of it is totally opportunistic. Does anyone think differently? That you've seen real places where people have said, okay, let's push RCS now as a channel? Okay.
Ira, let
Yes.
me react on that one because I think RCS was already there 7, 8 years ago. It was dormant for a long, long time. Only the Digital Marketing Act pushed RCS because Apple used it as a smart move to interconnect the Android with the iOS feature. That was it. And what did we think? Oh, there's an opportunity. Let's lift RCS. And what a surprise, because it is indeed too complicated, let's say, to do the campaigns immediately and see it as a potential shift in the revenue. It was simply a smart move of Apple. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And RCS will never lift off. So it's indeed opportunistic.
Right. Thank you. Thank you to our 7th panelist. Okay.
8-1 as well.
Increasingly, the entity originating a message isn't a human or even a business. It's an AI agent acting on behalf of one. That breaks assumptions that are baked into anti-spam frameworks, because now we have AIs that are going to complicate that. Sender verification and deliverability. For carriers, how are your trust and filtering regimes adapting to AI? For CPaaS, are you comfortable being the accountability layer when an AI agent sends something it shouldn't have? And for SEMA, who works in AI all of her life, how do we look at human against AI? How do we filter that? How do we moderate
I
that?
want to shift the arrow of accountability here a little bit from downstream, looking at the carriers. I want to shift the arrow of accountability upstream, because carriers and CPaaS, if they don't have the signals to indicate the right policies that are incoming from the AI platforms, they can't really do much, right? So I want to look up here where the companies are building their AI platforms. And I think we can achieve less hallucinations and fraud detection, sender discoverability by doing 3 things. So one, dehumanize the agent itself, mark it as a tested agent X version Y, orchestrated to do only these 3 different object syntaxes. And number 2, have a clear chain of thought that's visible to CPaaS as well. So they're not acting in blind. They're just not sending the message bit. They actually know, was the interaction started by the human? Was there a human in the loop? They have the entire chain of thought visible to them. And lastly, have the very clear consent with the user. So if the user agreed to have the conversation with the bank, did the user also agree to have the conversation with the bank AI agent as well? And make it super simple and easy, one tap remove consent as well, rather than just have it as an afterthought. So if you do these three things, then yes, I do think that we can head into a future where fraud detection and the accountability for whenever the agent is sending bad text that is basically defaming the entire company could be reduced. And to part of your second question, I mean, looking at CPaaS and carriers, blaming them for carrying the bad message as a postal company, that's not the right way to look at it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but the regulator will think differently. Someone's got to take the blame.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you dehumanize the agent itself, it's not just that the agent is representing the bank, but also when the AI platforms give us the capability to have the very clear, clean handoffs, chain of thoughts, what our executions were done, the certified consent was there. If not, the consent was removed at 10 p.m. yesterday. It should have been there, visible to the CPaaS as well. Right now, the workflows are developing way faster than someone really sitting down to think about all these policies around the guardrails and have these policies available to CPaaS to build on top of it. Because companies and including Microsoft, Google, and all these other companies which are building these AI platforms are going so fast in giving the tools. And Microsoft particularly, I think we are also spending so much on giving these observability tools, meaning if there was a rogue agent, you should be able to see that and you can make that as a suppressive agent and do that right away instead of just having, as an afterthought.
Ms. Carrier.
Yes, it's one thing to talk about accountability for sure. The other thing is to talk about prevention. From our side, we tried to focus as much as possible on prevention, and what operators can actually do in this regard is to combine, of course, the AI, machine learning, all the systems that we've been investing in the last years with the network analytics. And this is something where we have, as I said, an advantage compared to other players in the market, where we have access to the big data, we have the network information, and this is something that we can use in order to fight against fraud. So it's rather a matter of preventing rather than finding the guilty ones for something that already happened.
Ricardo, as an aggregator, do you think we should blame you?
That's the easy answer, right? Because regulators look at MNOs because they are the owners of the users, right? And the gatekeepers of the users. And normally, I think it's easy for the MNOs to pass the responsibility to whoever is carrying the message, right? And I give you a good example, right? Today, with the technology tools that exist, if an MNO installs an SMS firewall, could avoid all phishing. But that requires CapEx, OpEx, requires engagement with a technological partner. And because they are too busy with 5G and whatever, it's more easy to say, no, you have to register all the sender IDs and you pass all the complexity on the chain. And the blame is on the aggregators. While there were other technical solutions, much more effective, much more cost efficient, that could be deployed. I think there is a path of education and raising awareness. That is a role that we can do as an aggregator. But we face more and more situations where the regulators and the MNOs push for the easy solution, and at the end, it doesn't help the channel because you start creating complications. And for an enterprise that is focused on conversion and customer engagement, if they have to register sender ID and to have a lot of bureaucracy, maybe they will use WhatsApp. So at the end, yes, I think this is more complex than just blaming the aggregator, but it's also something possible to fix.
So one of the things that hasn't been spoken about as much, we spoke about all these years. We always spoke about how we would, when AI came, we use it for anomaly detection to try and filter out fraud. This has always been like the big thing. What's happened is that AI has come on so fast that the hackers are using AI quicker than the anomaly detection, and so we're seeing man-in-the-middle attacks on an unprecedented basis, because basically you can do a million bot attacks on the traffic when it's in transit, and there's no way that the anomaly detection can get it until it's passed through. And so this is something that's happened over the last year or so, and the amount of it's hitting the news all the time now, men in the middle attack. No one has any possibility of stopping this now. The only way would be would totally encrypt the channel like WhatsApp, let's say, while it's in transit, which raises a whole nother level of complexity. So that's something else that's come up. I'm going to ask the M&A question, and none of you want to talk about this, so I'm going to choose Fabrizio to start. We've seen meaningful M&A in CPaaS. Is the industry structurally heading towards 3 or 4 global players? Or does the carrier-by-carrier fragmentation of messaging keep this a more distributed market?
Well, I hope not that there will be just 3 or 4 players, because, then the whole fantasy is gone. And I think competition is always good to have. I don't think that this is a market of the winner takes it all. Consolidation for sure will happen. Why not? Makes sense. You can grow organically, or you just buy another company to get market share. So I think it's natural.
It's slowed down though. I think since COVID. When during COVID there was a period where there was every week seemed like there was another one.
Yeah, look, we are now living in another investment era from my point of view, but that's just my humble opinion. And now, if you see the M&A market, it has an enormous gravitation of the keyword AI, right? So everybody's just jumping on everything what is AI. I remember 25 years ago, it was the .com era. So, everything what had .com, toiletpaper.com, you got billions. Now it's a little bit in the same thing going, or data centers, but also because of AI, so put a lot of money in computing power. And I think we are in front of a huge wave of bankruptcy, honestly speaking, because also 25, 30 years ago, I remember how the carriers were built up. Maybe you're too young to remember that, but we had the Teleglobes and so on, carrier ones, which put the fiber in. They're gone, and for €1, nice companies could buy the infrastructure valued of billions. And I think the same thing will happen also here in somewhere, where then the little investor will pay the big bill for the old investments which are done, and then some of those players are then able to take over these big data centers. But in CPaaS, well, I do not hope that there will be the winner takes it all strategy. Consolidation for sure. The question is on which area? Is it the telcos, or is it a complete other area which takes over the CPaaS, or let's say OMNI-Channel market?
Is it important to keep the relative value of each player in the value chain, or does it make a difference if they merge together?
In which case, what do you refer to?
Carrier buys up the CPaaS, so the CPaaS buys up the carrier, or the
well, I don't know.
Customer engagement platform.
It depends.
Twilio is a great example.
I don't know if they are a great example.
Sorry?
I don't know if they are a great example. I mean,
they're a good example of trying to blur the line between what they are.
They have Twilio. I mean, with all the respect, they have
right?
with all the respect, but their acquisition, they have a developer-driven acquisition model. So what they address are the developers. If you do not have any developers, if you got them all, you are saturated in the market.
Right.
And I don't know, not even one bakery next door which has a programmer in the bakery. Well, so how you address it, right?
Ask Gabriela, she's the baker.
Gabriela, you have a programmer in your bakery.
I just make different things.
So, yeah, so API, only selling API in the pipe, I think that's an illusion, because the bigger market is the applications on top, which is using somewhere a pipe, wherever it is. I also do not see it that there will be just one pipe given by the carrier. It will be multiple pipes, where for sure An application will connect directly to WhatsApp, will be directly connected to Viber. No
To TikTok.
carrier in
To
between.
TikTok.
TikTok, again.
Anyone else want to take us the M&A question? No, Simo? Microsoft doesn't want to have an opinion on this?
No.
I didn't think so. Okay, so we're up to our last question. This is my favorite question. If we're back here in 3 years in this room and we're all sitting on a panel together, what's the single asset or capability that will separate the winners from the losers in this industry? We're talking about reimagining the messaging industry. What's going? And I know the answer is going to be AI, so you're not allowed to say AI for this response because that's everyone's not allowed to use AI.
Too easy, yeah? Too easy.
Way too easy.
Not necessarily AI, but in 3 years, though, if I were to say, there's definitely going to be more volume, but with that volume, like you said, the prompt injections and the fraud detection, or when there are millions of messages being sent by a bot today, now imagine 3 years later, there are going to be even more. Just like how we had to sit down and invest on email, spam detection technology, which was so unsexy at that time, but so important. Otherwise, our inboxes would be so full with all the spam messages. We gotta find an analogous for detecting these spam messages that are sent by bots. Whichever company nails to go do that first with the most trusted manner, I think that's the one that's going to be leading in the race.
Okay, but before you all answer the question, you have to answer this question, and then you have to answer one more question. And that question is, what will the messaging industry look like as an animal in 3 years? So first of all, the differentiator between winners and losers and an animal.
So for sure, in our case, the differentiator is clearly the mobile identity. And this is clearly an advantage for us when it comes to other companies like technology companies or OTT platforms or cloud providers. So this would be our main advantage, I would say. And when it comes to the animal, the tiger. Because the market is so competitive, and we see this every day, that everybody is fighting for his own piece of meat.
Cat. I got it.
Sort of.
Okay. Sima, go ahead.
I'd say a bunny hopping between different applications. Like if TikTok API releases, maybe that's hopping from one platform to the another. Why not?
And you're the only one I allow you to give the differentiator as AI. You're the only one allowed to use that as an answer.
So maybe a robot bunny? No, just kidding.
So I would say if we were to be here, if we were here 3 years back, one single word that will differentiate the winners from the losers, I think will be trust. While the losers will always be running after cost per message, high volumes, I think the winners will be the one who have built something that the gatekeepers, the carriers, AI gatekeepers, carriers, and also regulators need, which is a trusted identity layer to terminate your message. So trust at a big scale, I think it's something that makes the difference. Of course, we can talk about this for days and days, but because we had to choose one single word, that's the word I will go for, trust at big scale.
Animal?
And the animal that will maybe define the SMS, I was thinking of a horse. Why is that? Because everyone rides on it, so just ride on it, make some margins, do what we can with it till it dies, so that's what I was thinking of.
AI, no joke. I think that we come back in 3 years' time, the businesses that are most successful will be those that keep in mind that it's not about channel, it's not about technology, it's about helping enterprises achieve the right outcomes. And the businesses that keep that in mind and are flexible and willing to work with whatever channel, whatever technology is right at the time. If they have to pivot to TikTok, that's what they do. I think those will be the businesses that are most successful.
Only if he installs it on his phone.
And if lots of countries don't continue to ban social media for youngsters.
Exactly.
So I think animal-wise, a spider, lots of different arms.
Spinning its web. Got it.
So, differentiator, loser success. So I think in 3 years, because it's not so long, but also not so short.
You'll still be here on the panel. It's okay.
Huh?
You'll still be here on the panel. Don't worry.
Okay, so I think we can prolongate, the SMS story from 3 years to 10 years. So no worry, So there is still a lot of SMS doing, but successful in the omni-channel part will be the guys which are creative, which can adapt, which are intelligent, which are not tired just to sell a pipe, but find the way how to market, how to bring the value to the customer, maybe even in a niche, let's say just something for restaurants, something for garages or whatever. I think this will be the differentiator of being successful. So creativity, which is not really our industry, let's say, strong point, right? Because we are carriers, right? So let's see, in 3 years, I guess that the picture will be completely different, because in 3 years, for sure, something will happen. Animal?
But there'll be a disruptor, a bigger disruptor than we've had until now.
I think we are living a disruption already. We are disrupting a lot of things, and might be in 3 years there will be the next TikTok there. What we do, maybe this guy's not even born, and thanks to AI from Microsoft, is doing it 1.5 year a new killer app.
I once worked for the company that invented the USB flash drive. And which was a huge disruptor for technology in the world. And the motto of that company was there will always be a new disruptor for the disruption technology. So you always have to be looking for what's going to be disruptive.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, but that's, it's normal. It's evolution, right? It's called evolution. Animal, I think it will be a mix, a chimera of a chameleon, because you have to adapt, but you have to be... Oh, sorry. Okay, it's not chameleon. It's something like it's a fake chameleon, and an octopus, smart, adaptive, fast. A lot of channels everywhere that he can knock on every, let's say, opportunity, on every business idea. So, octopus and the just octopus. Sorry.
A chameleon octopus, I like it. All right.
So the differentiator, I think capability to orchestrate and to connect the dots, right? Which has been what we have been doing for voice, for mobile, for roaming, for interoperability, for messaging. So I think that's our role. And if doesn't matter the channel, doesn't matter the technology, that role will be needed. And if we focus on our strong points, which is this connectivity between use cases, between players, that will drive the success. And yes, I believe that the shape in which we will perform this role is changing. It has changed the last 10 years, has changed the last 2 years, and will change in the next 3. Then an animal. So since you took chameleon, a good bacteria, right?
A germ.
A good germ.
A germ. We have crazy cat, angry cat, and a germ.
You adapt. You create a natural vaccine that creates. Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to turn to the audience. I think we have time for a few questions. Yes, okay. You can name an animal, or you can ask a question. So, anybody?
Name an animal.
Name an animal, yeah.
What the panel is this?
I think they're in shock. All right, then I'll just summarize. So, I think that we learned a lot. I think that we did try and reimagine what the future of messaging will look like. I realize that it's a challenging question. I also realized that none of us are prophets. If we were prophets, we'd be making money in the stock market and not sitting here. So we try to understand from our experience and from what we do in our everyday jobs about how this could be different. Some of it is fantasy. As I mentioned at the very beginning, we had a fantasy 10 years ago that CPaaS would totally change this world. But there were other fantasies. Some of you may remember WAP years ago, or MMS, and how those were going to change the world. And so it's difficult to try and prophesize the future. On the other hand, we're businesses that run businesses, and we need to maximize profit for our shareholders. And so therefore we have to figure out the ways to make money. And the ways to make money, sometimes they're opportunistic, as we mentioned, and sometimes they're based on what we think has better long-term value. Not always, unfortunately, in this industry do we make decisions based on long-term value. More often it's for immediate gain, and that may be part of the problem that we have to change. But I do like that eventually the conversation got around to the challenge that I posed at the very beginning is how do we bring more value to the customer? And I think that one of the answers that came up here, which I think was probably the most important, is that we need to bring value to our customers. And our customers, for most of us, our enterprises are using business messaging. And if we need to find ways to bring them the value, and the ones who bring the most value to those enterprise customers are the ones that are going to succeed. So thank you again to our panelists for sharing and for being good sports with some of the inopportune questions. And I hope you will enjoy it, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.